Hey guys, my name is Neel and welcome to Neel Workshop Zone. So in this episode we're going to be talking about two programming languages, CSS and JavaScript. So ever since this channel started, I've talked about a lot of programming languages. I talked about Java, Python, HTML, even DBMS. So in those videos I've actually discussed or just mentioned about CSS, JavaScript, etc. So if you haven't checked it out, I recommend checking out all those videos as well. And in this episode, I'm actually going to be talking about CSS and JavaScript, one which I have never particularly dived deep inside of, but today we're going to be talking about them and also talking about the differences on what makes JavaScript and CSS both unique. So without further ado, first of all, let's talk about JavaScript. So first let's talk about JavaScript. So JavaScript is a lightweight programming language that is used by web developers to introduce dynamic interactions in web pages or web applications, mobile apps, etc. So for example, if you ever visit a simple website where you have to click some buttons or do something interactable with the website, you can say that JavaScript might be responsible for it. JavaScript is used for making interactable things or interactable dynamics in the website or application or whatever you're using, and I think JavaScript will most likely be responsible for doing that. And JavaScript works well with HTML, Java and Python as well, so you don't have to face any problems while working with JavaScript, and there are a lot more features for JavaScript which we'll talk about now. So some of the features for JavaScript are functions in JavaScript. Functions in JavaScript are objects that they may or may not have functions and properties. And not only that, but they also have a setting for setting the date and time, and they also do not need a compiler. And before JavaScript was introduced, most of the websites that were made did not have interactive dynamics like this. And only after JavaScript was the technology improved. I wouldn't say improved per se, but due to JavaScript, most of the websites were much more interactive than before. So JavaScript played a major role in that, and is also compatible across a lot of devices such as laptops, computers, mobiles, etc. So that is what makes JavaScript unique. Now let's talk about CSS. So without further ado, what does CSS stand for? So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, and this style sheet language is basically used to design a web page as you see right now. So without CSS, the websites that you are seeing will be bland and boring, without any color or without any design, and it's only due to CSS that you can see that variety of color or designs in any website. So CSS is really important in website designing. So CSS also has a lot of properties such that, like for example, it has a special ability which it can use to reposition the website. It is also compatible across all devices, and it is also the reason why any website looks colorful or pretty. And yeah, without CSS we probably wouldn't have the cool websites and the fun websites that we have right now. So that is basically about CSS in a nutshell. Now let's talk about what makes CSS different from JavaScript. So let me just write a table. So now let's compare CSS and JavaScript, and let's talk about what makes both of these very different. So without further ado, let's talk about those. So CSS depends on the customization of the website. So it is more for designing the website. As we just talked about, we can design the website by using colors and coloring the website or adding more features to it, whereas JavaScript is used to create interactive dynamics. CSS allows shapes, whereas JavaScript doesn't allow shapes. Sorry about my handwriting again, I'm just writing it fast so that you guys can understand. And the third point about CSS is that CSS is very easy to learn. and is also much easier to understand. Whereas on the other hand, easy to learn and understand, and on the other hand, JavaScript is much more harder whereas compared to CSS. And when you do save a file on CSS, it is saved in the file format of .css, whereas on JavaScript it is saved in the format of .js. And there's still a lot. I'll just take the dust a little bit. So let me just make this a lot smaller. .js. The fourth thing is that while writing CSS, you need to use a style tag. I meant we shouldn't actually have to use a style tag, because in CSS you don't have to specify that you're working on the style part of the website, so you don't need a style tag when using CSS. On the other hand, for JavaScript, the script tag must definitely be used. And one advantage I could say between CSS and JavaScript, it's not really an advantage because we're comparing two different programming languages, but if you have a small error in CSS, it still works, the website still works, But on the other hand, if in JavaScript you even have a small error, the entire web page or the application stops working. And the last difference that you can say is that for CSS there is much more room for optimization, while on JavaScript there isn't much room for optimization per se. So I would say those are the 6 differences between CSS and JavaScript. So that is the difference between CSS and JavaScript in a nutshell, and also what just basically CSS and JavaScript are. So this is basically CSS and JavaScript. And if you do want to learn more deeper about it, like about the programming stuff, then I recommend checking out those free websites in Google so that you can learn more deep about it, because I teach in a perspective of a beginner's level, not in terms of advanced per se. So that is basically about CSS and JavaScript. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any new videos. And that's it folks, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.